Welcome to a new episode of Outside the Panels with your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Outside the Panels. I am your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes, and this time around we have a pair of friends of the show, as you would have it. It is, of course, the one and only Tom Sniegoski and Jeanine Acheson. Tom and Janine, how's it going?
How's it going with you?
Excellent, it's going very well, thank you. You managed to survive the whole pandemic. We managed to avoid the dreaded lurgy.
Yeah,
we have.
So far.
So far, so good.
Yeah.
Not you.
I know.
Fine. It's going to be like that about it. Well, it was only September, so it's fine. I'm good. I'm good. I'm boosted. I'm jabbed. I'm all good. Excellent. Cool. So, Tom, Janine, I want you to know something, right? You've reached a bit of a record in my house. Yeah. So my wife said, have you got any podcasts coming up? I was like, yeah, I'm speaking to Tom and Jean about the new Vampy book. And she went, Tom and Jean, haven't you spoken to them before? Now, for my wife to remember who I've spoken to on a podcast. So, you know what I'm saying? So, round of applause to the pair of you. Well done. Right. So, you two have been excessively busy over the last few months, right?
We have.
All right. So, we'll start, I suppose, at the top. Vampiverse has just finished.
Yep.
How was that for you?
Kind of sad. I mean, that was like really fun to do. So kind of reaching like the ending of the story was kind of like, oh, yeah.
All right. Okay. So, so the end, they finally meet the artist.
Yeah.
Right? And then, of course, the next person down the line. Were these based on anyone in particular? I'm looking closely now.
Yes, actually, we were just talking about this. The character in the book, Trina Robbins, was based on Forrest Ackerman and Trina.
Yeah, Trina
Robbins.
Trina.
I always screw this up.
Yeah, Trina
Forrest in our book was based on Trina Robbins and Forrest Ackerman.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And who are those? For those who don't know,
they were like the first like creators of Vampirella. I think Trina Robbins like designed her.
All right, cool.
And Forrest kind of gave her the whole Dracula
origin.
Okay. Jim Warren might have had something to do with it too, from the original black and white magazines. But,
I do have a collection of the Warren originals.
Yeah.
We recently, I say recently, if you go back and check the Old Timers Comic Book Show, we did an independent review, and Vampy was my pick. So
okay.
So and we went for the Warren years.
That's fun.
Hell yeah! It's funny because I'm going to talk about that in a little bit about how there's a strike in this going on there. 6 issues, done and done. Are we going to see Bloodwing again?
I don't know if we're going to see Bloodwing again, but we may see some of the other characters from the Vampyverse again.
Oh, really? Okay. So, do you think, therefore, I mean, this is to the pair of you, of course. What's the attraction to multiverse books? Because, I mean, you've got Vampyverse, you've got Dynamite going on, you've got the other stuff over the big two that we don't mention so much. So, what is it about multiverses?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's interesting about it, I think, is that you get to do the character, be it Vampirella, be it Red Sonja, be it Batman, be it whatever, but you can put a spin on it that nobody else has done before.
All right. Okay.
So you kind of give the character a new flavor while keeping it's almost like new Coke, old Coke. You know, it's like kind of give that spin.
Who put cherry in Coca-Cola, for Christ's sake?
But it just allows you to do different things with something that's very traditional, established. When you come to Vampirella, you have a very specific idea as to what you're going to get from a Vampirella book. But when you spin it, like, for example, like with the Vamp, there's that 1930s pulp feel to it.
I love that. I did love her, to be fair. I loved her.
Wink, wink. Maybe you'll see her again. Wink,
Really?
wink.
All right. Well, let me just wink, wink that on my piece of paper so I know it's your address. That's fine. That's cool. To be fair, the characters, the Vampies that kind of had a major role in the book, they're not the ones that kind of like one and done.
Yeah.
I think some of those were really interesting. I love Futurella. What a great shout that was. Who was that?
Yeah.
Was that you?
And honestly, that kind of came from like the art. Daniel Main did a bunch of did a drawing, and we were kind of like, what's she about? You know, we just kind of batted ideas around and came up with something.
Cool, excellent. Janine, you're now a seasoned comic book pro.
I don't know about that, but
how's that feel now that you can say I've had like umpteen books now?
Sometimes it doesn't still really seem very real to me.
Okay.
Welcome to comics.
What's real, right?
It seems, I feel like I'm still kind of getting my feet wet and kind of learning how to write comics, so it doesn't quite seem, I don't know, right that my name is in there, but
see,
that's not fair.
I've got to be honest. I was spitting feathers recently. I was doing, I can't remember which book I was looking at. I don't know if I was looking at a Vampiverse book or the Panther book that came out. But in previews, Tom gets credited and then gets this whole big blurb about Tom, which is fair enough because Tom, don't take this the wrong way, dude. You've been around a while, right?
Like dirt.
Yeah, but then, I mean, in a nice way. But you're not even mentioned in the the credits. I'm thinking, I know Janine has worked on this book. What? Give credit where credit's due. Previews.
I think most of the time I've been in there. I think once or twice you've had because you have a literary history,
right?
And I've taught middle school.
I think Dynamite likes to lean on the fact that I have such a history with the character, and that's fine. Yeah. But as long as she gets some credit, I can't tell you how often I bang out an email, when I read something online saying, "All right, guys, come on, let's get a little mention her. She's part of this project too."
Well, you both get mentions in my reviews absolutely every time. You're welcome. You're welcome. No, I've absolutely loved Vampiverse from issue onwards, issue 1 and through. I mean, I did read issue 6 this afternoon. My local store, I have 2 stores. I'm trying to be a good guy about this. So like, I have an order with one store, and I have an order with the other store. So that way both stay in business, right? Yeah. Hopefully, we'll see how it goes.
Oh, yeah,
but the store that's the independent, because they're independent, they get their books maybe a week or 2 weeks later than the Forbidden Planet. And it messes with my head because I go to the Forbidden Planet and I'll see stuff and I'm like, I've ordered that. I'm like, no, wait a second. No, I've ordered it from the other store. Yeah. I have to wait 2 weeks to get it. So it's like, so I'm sometimes a little bit behind, but the stall, I'll give it a shout. The Darl Knight in Darlington absolutely loves Vampy, unbelievably so. They've got loads of, the Gwilla March covers and stuff from way back when. Cool. What do you think? I've probably asked this before. What do you think? And this is to the pair of you again. What is Vampy's main pull still? I mean, yeah, she's hot. Yeah, she wears a bathing suit for a costume. Yeah, she's a vampire. But what is it? What is it that keeps us coming back to this character? Because there are others.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
what is it that makes you two come back to the character? Damn it, Hughes! Why did you ask that question? Sorry.
I think for me, it's because she's been around. I'm actually older than she is, but she's been around for such a long time and still manages to be relevant. But we were actually talking about a comic signing that we were at last fall, and a gentleman came in and he was like, I heard about this. I heard you guys were going to be here, and I had to come. He was from another state, like Vermont or something. And he said, I had to come because I read Vampirella the Black and White magazine, and I just wanted to catch up on the latest on what she's been up to. And I'm like, that's so cool because she's very iconic. And
I think it's really funny. A lot of people, probably more people like my age, have this memory of her that doesn't actually. I mean, you either read the magazines or you saw the magazines at a distance, and you weren't allowed to touch them.
Yeah. Ooh,
they were usually above the comics, so you couldn't quite get to them.
Yeah.
There's just something about that character, something about those covers, those iconic Vampirella covers from the magazine that just kind of, I don't know, she's just been kind of almost like planted in our brains, like comic fans' brains.
So it's funny you should mention that. I remember being a kid and not Vampy, but I had some birthday money left over. I must have only been about like 10 or 11 or no, not even that, 8 or 9. And I managed to pick up a black and white Sheena of the Jungle comic, right? And I was like, how is my mum letting me buy this? It's about a woman in a bikini. It's like, how is she letting me? It's like, great. So this is Vampiverse number 6. I've picked this cover predominantly because this is the cover that I own.
Yeah.
You know? I've got to say, I absolutely love the various covers that came with this.
They did a great job with those. Yeah.
Definitely. Do you guys have a lot of say in what's depicted on the covers, or does it just go with what's...
Absolutely like nothing. We were usually seeing the covers and going, oh, is that for issue? Yeah. What issue was that for? You know?
Can we get that?
Yeah. Can we have that one?
Yeah, sure, you get Matrix, right, when you write the book, right?
Oh yeah, we don't get all of them. We still stumble across like copies like from like special store editions that.
Yeah, that's a shout.
That we'd never seen.
I have to say that the covers have been fantastic, and they absolutely fit the tone of the story.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Cool. Excellent. Right. So a bit of a change of pace then. Let us talk about your middle book. Now, I thought I'd upset you guys because I read Panther number 1 and I was a little bit critical of it. I don't know if it's my unfamiliarity with the character or whatnot, but what is it that made you want to bring Panther back into the fold? There's a copy of number 2 that's due out later this month.
You know, it's interesting. She was always somebody who I never felt lived up to the expectation of the character.
Well, that's a good shout. That is a good shout.
Yeah, I mean, she was always interesting, but it never went she never went to that next step. Almost like when she first started in like the black and white magazines, it was almost as if they were attempting to duplicate the success of Vampirella, but with a shapeshifter, and never quite found its footing. And then when Harris brought her back in the early 90s, it was almost as if they weren't quite sure what they wanted to do with her there either, and she became almost humorous. There was almost like a parody type feeling to it, and I felt that never quite got to the potential that you could do with the character. And then Christopher Priest was using her in Sacred 6,
right?
And that was when I started to see like what he started to play with. He kind of picked and chose. He kind of like went around and found all stuff from like the early incarnations, the later incarnations, and kind of melded them together. And what he came up with there was far more interesting, I felt, and kind of gave us the ability to say, all right, this is our core. Now let's see if we can kind of fill out the universe and fill out the character and fill out her supporting cast and stuff like that, and just do something a little more interesting than.
Yeah, cool, good shout. She's made a bit of a comeback. She's made an impression because obviously she's in your book. She's also in Dynamite, the whole like zombie version of the Dynamite universe. I noticed she was in there. Did you guys know she was going to be there as a?
No, I didn't even know she was in there. Dare you, Marucci?
There you go. So, one of the things for me that I find hard about characters like Panther is all the Egyptian stuff, the Egyptology, to say the least.
She loves that.
That was my question. Who's the Egypt fan?
That's her thing.
It started. I don't know if you know the show, The Love Boat, in like the 19th.
Oh, The Love Boat. That one.
On one of the later seasons, they went to Egypt.
All right.
And here I am. I was like, I don't know, 20 years old or something. And they went to Egypt, and I was absolutely enthralled. And I mentioned it to my husband like a few years later. And I said, I've always wanted to go to Egypt. And he said, oh my God, so have I. So we traveled there in 1990. And ever since then, like anything that's Egyptian has just captured my attention. So for me, like doing all of the research into actual gods was so much fun. I'm very much the research portion.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, she does all the research, and then she gives me the information, and I twist it.
And
I spin it and put it on its head.
But that has been so much fun for me, like revisiting all of the old, just Egyptian tales and the myths and its legends, and it's just so much fun. It's so my thing. Love it.
Cool. Excellent. I think it's one of the things that I think stops people liking Hawkman so much. Because it has like, not only does he have his convoluted history for a start.
Oh, he has.
On top of that, he's got all these.
I couldn't even begin to explain that character's history. There's like 30 layers to that character.
Yeah, it's bonkers. It's bonkers. So Egyptology is a thing. We like Panther as a character. That means it comes to the forefront. How is it? How different is it then? Kind of plotting and planning for Panther than it is for Vampy, because I mean, they're in the shared universe, I guess. But
not this way. For some insane reason, Panther is so difficult. Panther is, for some reason, it's been much harder. I mean, we would sit down with Vampiverse and kind of just babble and laugh and kind of come up with stuff. But with Panther, we sit there and we stare at each other.
Very
and I think maybe it's because we want to do the character justice. So we don't want to follow up. We don't want to trip up. But yeah, Panther has been far more difficult than I would have ever expected it to be.
Is this because, I guess, with Vampy you can kind of go out of left field if you wanted to, right? But with Panther and Janine's interest in Egyptology, you've got to make sure that the gods are right.
Keep her happy.
Yeah. She's going to clip you in a minute, man. She's going to just
I saw her out camera.
You'll be getting a Seth this, boof, there you go.
Yeah, I think with Panther, one of the big things is that I feel a responsibility to set up, or we feel a responsibility to set up not only the character, but the world that she lives in, the supporting cast. I just felt that it's a big job, whereas a lot of the work on Vampy's been done already. Whereas Panther, I think, still needs that work.
And you know what? I think that comes through in that first issue, because the first issue, Panther's living a kind of reclusive life.
Right.
In a zoo, she stepped away from who she is, what she means, and her responsibilities. It's taken a great darkness to come around and say, right, okay, we need your help to kind of get her out of that frame of mind. Right. So it's not. Whereas Vampy is like fun and loud from the get go. Right. I think Panther's a little bit more of a slow burner. And,
yes. Even when we were plotting it originally, we were like, all right, this is gonna be kind of like we're gonna build momentum with each issue and stuff. So yeah.
So let me ask you a question about scheduling, because was Panther originally going to be a monthly book, or is it
It was going to be a monthly book, but I think there was a combination of some issues with the artist, and I think there was some issues with paper shortage.
All right, okay.
That fouled it up originally, and then I believe the numbers on issue 1 were like really good, and it sold out. So that, and the numbers that came back on issue 2 weren't reflective of that. So they gave retailers another shot to order again and increase their numbers. So that kind of delayed it a little bit too. But I think it's at the printer now. So we should have it within like next week or two.
It is, if I check my stats, it's due to ship on March 23rd.
Oh, March 23rd. Okay. All right. That sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. Which is the cover that I'm showing at the moment. Do you think that schedule's gonna hinder or help? I think I know what the answer to that one is. If you've got like a slow burner of a book to
when a book is never good when it's late.
Well,
that's not good for anybody. But I think
tell that to the doomsday clock.
Yeah. Oh God.
That was still on. I think we're still waiting for issues. I'm joking.
I think as soon as issue 2 comes out, the schedule should like correct itself at that point.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're writing 5 now, and we've seen artwork up until like 3. The artwork to 3 is done, and whoever's drawing 4 has got that in hand, I'm sure.
Cool. So is Panther ongoing, or is it a 6-issue set to see what happens?
Like all Dynamite books, it kind of straddles that line. If the numbers are decent, it'll keep going. If the numbers aren't decent, it'll end at 5, and maybe she'll pop up in like miniseries and stuff like that after that. But the intention is to be monthly. Okay,
cool. There's nothing wrong with that. I think having like I call it the Dark Horse model.
Yes.
Yeah, like, Dark Horse to do like
Hellboy.
To do like a batch, and then you go here for about a year, and then boom, another batch.
Yeah, I actually like that.
Yeah, me too. I think it means that you strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
And people don't get bored.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, as I said last time, I don't know if I said it last time, but during the first pandemic, when everything was locked down, when I went back to my local Forbidden Planet, I ended up spending £140 on comic books that they'd kept for, I couldn't believe it. And in there is, I'm going to say his name, all pointy is, there's some Batman, 106 to 111.
Yeah.
We're on what we're on now. I don't know what number we're on now. 120, 121. I haven't read those issues yet. The point is past. I'm done. I can't. I don't have the motivation to go back and read a story from 2 years ago.
I actually, as evidenced by the large stacks of comics in my dining room, it overwhelms me. I want to read I want to read everything. So I buy everything, and then all of a sudden 6 months has gone by, and I haven't read Iron Man yet, or whatever.
Well, I don't really want to compare and contrast, but I think that's my reading pile there.
Well, we'll let
that looks like my reading pile. It's like covers the dining room table, and there's stacks.
Yeah, I'm building up.
You know what?
I'm just putting it up.
We've heard enough of you.
So your reading pile's getting bigger, Janine. That means what's Tom making you read?
What am I reading? Human Target.
The new Human Target by Tom King, which is really good.
Yeah.
Did you read the Supergirl book from Tom King?
I'm gonna buy her the collection. Isn't that amazing?
It honestly, I was pestering him every month. Every month I was pestering him on Twitter saying, "Do not kill Crypto. Do not kill the dog."
No, don't. No, you can't. Kill Crypto now.
Oh, I was so angry. But it's a great book. It's a great book.
A really good book.
Yeah, you need to put some time away to read that because it's very wordy.
Very dense.
Yeah.
But you know what? It really the artwork and the scripting like really work incredibly well together. Yeah. One doesn't feel like it overwhelms the other at all.
I think probably for me there was probably one issue was a little bit rocky. I think the metaphor was a little bit loud, and I thought, well, come on, we can do better than that for that metaphor, surely to God. But other than that, the rest of it was absolutely bang on.
Yeah.
What a great series. Cool. Yeah. So cool. What else is he making you read?
I like the quirky stuff.
Something is killing the children.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Have you read Stray Dogs?
No. I have those. They're in my stack.
You should read Stray Dogs. You should read Stray Dogs. It is.
Okay.
I'll do all 5 in a go. Go boom, 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 boom. It is absolutely great.
I like
Fine.
collections
Cool.
because I can read.
She likes to read like strict.
Yeah.
She's not very good with like the monthly book. She's
All
good.
right.
She's good with the story arcs, like
Okay.
the down beginning, middle, and end. You know.
Yeah, that's fine. That's why a lot of publishers run to that kind of model.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oldies like me like getting the floppies and the 22 pages and stuff. Yeah.
But how do you remember, if you read a lot of comics every month, how do you remember where one left off and you pick up the next one and you go, and I have to almost go back and look at the issue before, refamiliarize myself before I
Just have it.
I think it's a mutant ability.
Yeah, cool. I don't mind graphic novels, but what I don't like sometimes, if they're quite dense, you then end up having to sort of like really sort of like to get like the full page.
Yeah, you have to break the binding to get it.
Yeah, I think I've got a couple like that. I think I've got one of the Crisis books, Infinite Crisis, like that, and it's like the art just bleeds to the corners of the page, the whole page. So to get the whole effect, you like.
Yeah.
Whereas in a floppy, it's easier.
Yeah, it's not as restraining. Yeah.
Yeah, and digital. Don't even get me started about digital. Right. To be fair, I do see digitals for the reviews and stuff, so that's fine. Right, we'll take a quick break. Here's an advert for one of our shows on the UCPN. Where shall we go? Well, I think, is it here? Is it there? There it is. All right, so I mentioned the old timers. Check this out. Here's our advert.
Do you want to find out what makes the professor do his happy dance? Check out the Old Timers Comic Book Show, only on the UCPN.
And there you go, the Old Timers Comic Book Show, where the hosts aren't old, but the comics are most certainly are. If you wanted to check out the Vampy episode, that is episode 3. There you go. Cool. Right. Okay. So you've got a new book out. Now that you've rested on your laurels, you've got Panther coming out, and now one series ends and another one begins.
Yep.
We are talking about, let me see if I've got a nice little picture for this one. I think I do. We'll go with this one first. Boom.
That's our favorite one. We love that one. Oh, time for me to go.
It's all me now. It's all about me.
Wait for this.
Right. Okay. So, Vampirella Strikes.
Vampirella Strikes.
Explain what the premise of this book is, please.
Well, if people had been reading my Vengeance of Vampirella run, the last 4 or 5 issues jumped ahead about, I think it was like between 10 and 15 years, and showed that the Danse Macabre had established this like great city and was attempting to like keep a certain level of control over the supernatural creatures of the world and things like that after the death of Mistress Nyx. So at the end of that story, Vampirella is in the city and has been kind of recruited by the Danse Macabre to become one of their top agents. So with Vampirella Strikes, I get to do kind of neat little, almost like noirish, almost like detective stories.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So it's kind of fun. Whereas the Vengeance of Vampirella run was very, very operatic and very big and more like very much a horror comic. Strikes still has all those horror elements, but at the same time, I'm trying to bring in some kind of like moody PI noirish elements as well.
I can just imagine that. Vampy sitting at a desk with a boots on the desk there, drinking a cup of blood, saying something like, "It was 3:30 in the afternoon, and he walked in.
You know what? Though
I could smell the death on his blood, on his breath."
You know, the sad thing is, out of all the characters that are out there, that would work with her. You could make that work with her.
Oh man, what can I say? I've been privileged, thank you, to see a black and white version of this book. And as I was of issue 1, as I was flicking through this, I'm sorry for whoever colors this book, but I quite like the black and white.
The black and white is nice, but the color is really nice too.
I don't know. I looked at the black and white, and it reminded me so much of the Warren stuff from, we mentioned it earlier, from years ago. And I was like, man, I would buy a black and white Vampy book in a heartbeat.
Yeah, they haven't. That's something that they don't even talk about.
Why?
I don't know.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think the coloring process for comic books over the last 20 years has been fantastic in digital coloring and all that sort of stuff.
Right.
But I don't know, black and white Vampy book. I mean, even the art style was very kind of 70s with the with sort of like longer legs and characters sort of like spreading across panels rather than being in a panel.
I believe the artist is Kevin Lau. Is his name?
Wow.
He did the Green Hornet book for Dynamite, as well as a bunch of other stuff. And he has a very cinematic style. So yeah.
Cool. I mean, to be honest, as soon as I heard it was coming out, it went straight on my pull list. So I was like, right, cool, next. So
I must be doing something right.
That's exactly it. It's for Janine's more than yours, to be fair.
Yeah, you'll read this one, and this one isn't as good without her.
I jest. There's the one thing about writing, isn't it? I mean, if you've got 2 different artists working on a book, you can probably tell where the split is, right?
Honestly, not really. With writing, it's almost like a great big pot. It all goes in the pot and gets stirred.
That's what I'm saying.
And it gets tough.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. Art styles can differ so much in one book.
Yes.
But writing, it kind of merges together.
It has to all come together. Yeah.
So I can't look at the page and go, oh wow, that's Janine. Oh wow, that's Tom. Because you just can't do that. There might be aspects of both on the page, whether it be a piece of dialogue or a setting or a set
stuff
piece.
Has more swearing. All the swearing is my stuff.
As long as it's real swearing and not that comic book. Oh man,
the crazy symbols.
Hashtag star exclamation point.
Yeah. We don't care for that.
Yeah, we don't care for that either. Definitely. How is it working on the book like Vampy Strikes, and you have other creators working on other Vampy books at the same time? You mentioned Christopher Priest. He's on Vampirella Unholy.
Yeah.
Vampy's a major player in the Dynamite Lives, or Dynamite Never Dies, or Dynamite, whatever it's called nowadays, because it's on by Fred Valenti. So how is it? Can't you guys call each other up after a while and say, hey man, I'm doing this, or to just go like separate?
My Vampirella is the Tomverse. When they asked me to come back to Vengeance of Vampirella, it was to pick up where I left off at Harris years and years, 25 years ago. So this timeline, my Vampirella timeline, is totally different than the timelines going on in the other books. So yeah, that's totally my Vampirella. They can have their Vampirellas. I have my Vampirella.
Well, it's like who are you? Chicago White Sox or are you the Cubs? Which one? Well, you guys are from Boston, so you've only got one team, right? You've only got the Sox.
We only got one.
Yeah, cool.
Red Sox.
Yeah, me being a Dolphins fan, you know, so less said about the Patriots, the better. Hey, it's fine. You can laugh. We beat you twice this season. I don't care. Just throw that in there. So, Janine, with your writing experience becoming greater and greater and greater through Tom's excellent stewardship.
Yeah.
I say that with a knowing wink. Mm-hmm. What are the chances we're going to see your name first?
Oh, my name's
Solo.
First or
Yeah.
Solo? I don't know. I don't know enough yet to do it myself honestly.
Tom, do you agree with that assessment?
She does not cut herself enough slack.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
She's far more aware of how this stuff works than she lets herself be aware.
Well, I know how it works and I know how to do it, but I'm not sure that I would be able to pull it off by myself.
Yeah, she's
That's
lacking
why
a certain amount of confidence.
that's why you've got artists and inkers and letters. That's you could just turn around and say, right, I'm not quite sure about this, just make it look pretty. Hell, I know comic books companies have been doing that for years. I'm not saying names. I'm not dropping names on that one, but still, you must be feeling more confident as each book successively gets.
Yes. I definitely feel more confident than the very first Vampirella Valentine's Day special.
That's still a great book. That was fun. That was a beautiful book. That one, definitely.
But I was completely lost. No idea at all what I was doing. Now at least I feel like I have a grasp of like the process. I have occasionally I have a good line or two.
You do more than that. See, she's not even aware of what she contributes. So
self-deprecation.
It's easier. It's still very challenging.
That's cool.
Comics is not an easy thing.
No.
So why is it not an easy thing then, Tom? Because I mean, people outside the field will just be, it's just this. Some people get confused when there's a writer involved.
Yeah, I think because of the fact that you're writing, not just writing. As a writer, you have to be visualizing this comic so that the artist can grasp what you're going for and get kind of what you're looking for on the page. I know I like to think that they bring their own stuff to the work as well. I'm not one of those guys that's like, this is how I describe it is exactly how it has to be. No, I'm pretty.
You don't take over Tom.
No, I'm pretty loose when it comes to, I give you my basics. I give you kind of what I'm picturing. If you can make that look cool or better than what I said, you go right ahead. You go knock yourself out. But it's tough. It's tough to have to visualize as well as like dialogue and captions and stuff like that, kind of supporting the artwork. Those two things have to kind of go hand in hand. And I think a lot of people don't remember that. I think a lot of writers, like either like novelists or who decide that they're going to give comics a try, I think kind of bring the novelist aspect to comics, and that's too much. It's gonna overwhelm the art. So you have to have that nice balance. And I think a lot of people don't quite get that.
I think a lot of people don't understand the fact that writers have to direct the action.
Yeah.
Right? It's very much a case of, in your head, you might want a camera angle shown from up here.
Yep.
And you think, and that's, you're not just writing the dialogue. It's not character A says this, character B says that. You've got to explain to the artist why character B and character A are doing this.
It's almost like you're a movie director.
Exactly how
I camera around and yeah.
I mean, I've had this conversation recently with someone. I can't remember which book it was. There was a book that came out recently and it had no words in it. And it was just all art all the way through. One of the indie books, and it looked great. I didn't review it particularly for any non-reason other than it looked great, and I was like, okay, that's cool. Well, I was talking to my friends about it, and they were like, so why is there a writer credited? I was like, because the writer's got to convey why you're looking at the mountain range, why you're doing this, why you're doing that.
Right.
It's the artist's job to bring that to life so you can see it, so you can visualize, so that's cool. There you go. Vampy Strikes. There's another cover for you. They like her in thigh boots, don't they? Don't have a problem with that. Okay, just saying. Yeah, it's cool. Do you think the variant covers help the industry?
I don't think they help the industry, but I think the fan base likes them. I think the fan base just likes the whole collecting thing. Oh, I like this cover and I like this. It gives you a choice.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of times I find that if I'm looking at covers, I'll pick the one that I like the most, and if there's two that I like, well, I'll buy two. So there's a little bit of that.
Yeah.
Dangling the carrot in front of the fan base. That's multiple covers. So
I'm very much like you. I'll pick the one I like.
Yeah.
And if there's one that comes out that I think, wow, that's really fantastic, I might buy it as well and stick it in a frame.
Yeah. I don't feel the need to buy all of them. I'm not in that frame of mind.
Well, you don't need to buy Vampy books, man. You get them made rates. You said earlier. Is there going to be a Vampy Panther crossover?
I hope so. But again, my Vampy is another universe, so I don't know.
Oh man! Well, your Panther could be your Panther.
Yeah, we could jump ahead into because again, my Vampy is slightly into the future, so it could be the Panther of the future.
Oh, see, now we're thinking. Now you're making it a proper Tomverse.
All about the Tomverse.
I can't believe you're gonna get like T-shirts printed, aren't you? Yeah.
Tomverse.
Oh, we already have.
Yeah. And Janine has one point and saying, "I'm with Tom." Yeah.
I'm with Tom.
I'm with stupid.
Well, I wasn't going to say that. But hey, if the cat fits right, that's cool. So when's let me see, when does Vampy Strike come out? Let's have a quick look. I should have it somewhere.
Is that May?
May the 11th.
May the
11th. Jonathan Lau is your artist.
Oh yeah.
Colors. Do we know who the colorists are?
Omi, the guy who. Yeah, what's his last name?
Remalante.
Yes, Omi Remalante. He colored Vengeance, Vampirella.
Yeah, cool. I've seen his work. He's great. And your letterer?
He's good.
Yeah.
He's good.
Is your letterer Taylor?
Yeah.
It's Taylor Esposito. Excellent. Good shout from Ghostcliff Studios. You can't say Taylor without saying Ghostcliff. So it's the way it works. Cool.
Yeah,
I liked it.
His lettering. The lettering is really nice. Yeah.
Definitely.
He did Vampyverse, I think too.
Yeah, he did. Indeed. Cool. Because Dynamite have got a couple of good letterers kicking around right now. They've got I can't say his name. Is it Hassan Otsman Elu?
I don't.
No.
I'm not 100%.
I'm going to. It's just the way I'm saying it. I'm sure. Hassan Otsman. Oh, that's right. Hassan Otsman Elu.
Okay.
And of course you've got Taylor as well, Taylor Esposito. I've been lucky enough to interview Taylor, so he was cool.
Oh, is he cool? I've never met him.
Yeah, he's cool. He called me out. Well, he didn't call me out on Twitter. He called reviewers out on Twitter for not giving credit to letterers.
You always give credit to letterers.
I do now because I spoke to him. Yeah. I was like, okay, point taken. So I don't always give credit to loads of cover artists because I only pick the ones I like. So there you go.
Yeah, it's cool.
So how long is Vampy Strikes ongoing series, or do you have?
That's ongoing. I'm writing issue 4 right now. So
cool. Oh, you're writing issue 4. All right.
Vampirella Strikes is just me.
Just you all by yourself.
Vampirella Strikes, yeah.
How are you going to manage?
I'm trying. I'm calling her all the time. You gotta help me out.
I'm still got this plot
flounder in here.
I'm sure. I agree. I'm sure it'll be fine. Right, guys. Thank you so much. So we've talked about Vampyverse coming to an end, the ongoing Panther stuff that's coming out later this month, and of course Vampy Strike, which is out in May.
May.
So there you go, dude. You've been super, super busy. And good to see you're just basking in the glory. You just continue to pump out great books. I am really looking forward to Panther #2.
I think you'll see. I think you'll get more of what we're up to with issue 2. So.
Good. I look forward to it. I know I was, as I said earlier, I was writing the review. I'm thinking they're never going to talk to me again anymore.
That's what she didn't want them. She was like,
I mean, really? Yeah, right. What else?
she was like, no, I don't want
I'm
to talk
done.
to him. I'm like, look,
I'm not
cut
talking to him anymore. God damn, you only gave us.
He had the COVID. Cut him some slack.
I did have the COVID. You're right. I did. All right, guys. Thanks so much.
You're dead. You're dead.
Not saying anything. Don't forget to check out the UCPN for all your favorite shows. And that includes the Old Timers Comic Book Show, as well as Flipside Focus for all your indie comics needs. Tom, Janine, been a blast. Absolutely love speaking to you guys. Glad you got in touch. Thank you for the issue 1. Send the finished version over. We'll make sure an advance review gets on Comic Crusaders for you. Okay, we'll get that done. All right. As always, don't disappear, and we'll have a chat after this credits. And for everybody else, adios.
Visit undercovercapes.com for the latest and greatest podcasts via the Undercover Capes Podcast Network. Also visit our parent company website, comiccrusaders.com, all about comic pop culture.